Welcome to this ICF Slalom podcast episode, part of the series running until the Los Angeles 2028 Olympic Games. We bring you the inside stories from around the globe from the people who make canoe slalom so special. Here's your host, John Gregory.
A warm welcome to this fifth episode of Series 5 with a recap of an intense 2024 Olympic season. Thanks for joining me. Today, I'm joined by Alexander Slafkovsky from Slovakia, who has announced his retirement from international competition. He has an illustrious C1 career to celebrate. Here's my conversation with former world number one, Alexander Slafkovsky. You've had the most incredible career, I guess, starting Junior Worlds in 2000 up until now. I mean, three times you've won the World Cup Series, 3 times you've been European champion. The number of times you've won a team, 10 times at Worlds, I think, and 9 times at European. I mean, it's just staggering. But which of those race results do you think or hold most special?
I think the first medal I had was in 1998 in Lofer, Junior World Championships. I was the first time junior. I had 14 and I have beaten the big names like Stefan van Moller and all the guys, which they were 18 already, and I was second behind one Czech, Lukáš Přinda. And then it started for me, maybe I will get some results if I continue like this. And every time the first one was the biggest. First medal in seniors, first medal on the team. But which I remember the most are the races which have done at home. The Europeans in front of the home crowd was amazing. It was something really, really special. I managed to win, and then when I was second also in Bratislava Čuňovo, is not the home crowd, but it's the Slovak crowd, and the emotion was really electric. So I remember these two like the big ones in front of the home crowd.
Okay, well, that's really, really lovely to hear. Yeah, I mean, you were world number one, according to my stats, 7 times.
Okay. It will not help me to pay the bills, but it's nice to know and nice to feel that it was not a coincidence, we can say.
Well, I mean, you have been for decades, really. I mean, you've been one of the most consistent paddlers on the circuit. Proof, obviously, in the fact that you won World Cup Series 3 times, 2012, 2016, 2018. So through that period, you were certainly one of the most consistent paddlers on the circuit.
Yeah. It can be that when I was on the start, maybe the others have to tell, but I think they were saying, I'm still on the start, and they were waiting what I can do. And because you have some paddlers which, when they are on the start, you cannot count on them to be consistent, or it's sometimes they are in the period of growing and the consistency is not there yet. But as you said, maybe I was the one who was the consistent one, and they were expecting from me to do something when I was on the start.
Okay, well, we'll talk later about what you're doing now, but yeah, you have the most incredible credibility to be giving advice to top-level international Olympic kind of athletes.
Actually, I was surprised of what the director of the Army Sports, when I'm still employed to the end of the year, Maciej Todt, which he is the gold medalist in walking on the Olympics, the 50Ks walk, and he's a director. And when I was having the goodbye race, or let's say, and he said to the media that I am the most successful athlete in Slovakia, which never has been to the Olympics. And then I realized, that may be true. So, there were some results, but never been to the Olympics.
Yeah, well, no, it's been on my mind. He is right. I think that is true, beyond doubt. But it has been on my mind in terms of almost doing a podcast episode about athletes who either have never been to the Olympics, which would be a case for you, or have never won the Olympics, yet had won everything else. I mean, Richard Fox came fourth in Barcelona, and there are others as well who never
You
got
have Vic
that.
Prentice in K1, world champion, European champion, never been to the Olympics yet.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So yeah, I might do an episode about that. Yeah,
you
it
should,
would be it could be funny actually as well. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the Olympics. So I mean I now know that I mean you're working with the French team as well. So but how good was Nicolas Guestin's gold medal Paris Olympic run? I mean he was in front of a home crowd. How good was his run?
It was the best he could perform, and I think maybe some of the peddlers will get mad about what I will say now, but he was the only one C1 who managed to do to show what he's capable of. He really used his preferences, he really used his strengths, and he really managed. He was the only one to do the course perfectly. So I think he for me he was the only one to do it like it should be done.
In C1 or across all the classes?
In C1. Let's be specific on C1.
Okay. Okay. It was also a season where we saw four new Olympic champions. So Giovanni De Janeiro, Nicolas Guestin, who we've just mentioned, Finn Butcher, Naomi Fox. So, I mean, that must be, I mean, that's good for the sport.
It's good for the sport, and with the cross, it's something new, different, and there are new names coming up, which is good. Giovanni managed to not to do the same mistake as he have done on the previous two Olympics, and finally he won. So that's good to have different guys in the front also, and not every time the expected ones. Maybe it's also good for the sport, but if the rules will change and the run will count together, I think the sport will change again a little bit.
Okay, we might come back to that again. So I mean, which paddler across any class maybe impressed you the most at the Olympics? Maybe that wasn't on the podium. Who should we look out for? I don't know, in 2028.
I think the Nicolas Gestin was the run which I admired the most. Then, okay, one mistake for Tito and Kastrik, but yeah, we don't play on but and if in our sport, in every sport. He have made a 95% run, which was perfect, and the 5% was a mistake, and he didn't manage to win. But as I was a part of the organization team of the Junior World Championships in Liptovský Mikuláš, and I was also co-course designer with Yves Narducci. What impressed me was the run of Žigalin Hočevar in C1 and Gabriela Sadkova also, because they really managed to do the run as I was thinking of constructing it and the lines. And Žigalin and Gabriela have done exactly what I have seen when I was constructing the run. So that impressed me a lot this year.
That's a very unique perspective, actually. I must ask that again in terms of so those people, paddlers, coaches who set courses, who did the run that most met, obviously what you were visualizing when you set that course. It's a very interesting perspective.
Yeah, because when I was designing the course, I had in my mind what I want to see that the athletes will show to the spectators, to the coaches, and I wanted to put all the moves they are possible to put in this panel and on this course. I wanted to build a course which will force the athletes to do all the moves. And so there were many moves to do, and the best one, if they manage to do it and use the water, because I wanted to set a course that if you use the water, then it's easy. And these two guys just showed me that it's possible, and they have done it. So they won with a big margin. So it was nice to watch.
Yeah, Jigalin Hokovar has impressed us both in C1 and K1, of course, this year as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
Gabriela Satkova. Beyond those two, I mean, who stood out for you this year? Maybe not at the Olympics.
maybe also Nico Jesten in Augsburg when he managed to win. That was a really nice run also.
Now, one of the things I did want to ask you, I mean, we've talked about, your first major kind of international race results and so forth. So, yeah, I mean, you've been at the top of the podium, effectively, for 2 decades. So, to what extent has C1 class evolved in that time that you were at the top? I mean, is the standard higher now? Are the athletes fitter, stronger than they were 2 decades ago?
The C1 technique has changed a lot, I think. When I was paddling, let's say 3 decades, so it was the 19th to 2000, the paddlers were sitting like 15 centimeters high. So you could see that they are sitting barely on the top of the boat. Now they are sitting on the bottom in the boat, so are really stuck in the boat because the boats are getting more narrow, so they have to be more stable. And the technique of passing the upstream gates and the downstream gates, the zigzag gates, it's not as it was before to passing through middle of the gate. The C1 guys are now lying on the back in the boat and putting just the head inside like the K1s do. So this is a big evolution which has been done through the last decade, I think. And I was still the old school paddler paddling in between the gates. Now the C1 paddlers are really trying to do it like the K1s and just putting a head in the gates and using really the lying back in the boat and not staying straight and passing the gates nicely in the middle, let's say.
Okay, I'm glad I asked now. Yeah, I mean, you've had quite a substantial influence in canoe boat design, which of course is always a balance. But yeah, no, maybe I hadn't appreciated in terms of that sitting position in C1 and the back deck. I mean, tell a bit more about that sort of journey and design.
I had problems all my life with my legs. I had to have a special fittings in the special cockpit in my boat. And also, I needed to sit differently as the others. I had the chance with Vida to build C1 models which fits me. And what I was always aiming and trying to do to build a boat which is easy to navigate. And the models, I can say they were successful because I was always searching to have the boat be more fluid, more with the flow, more easy. And it was my style of paddling to really use the currents, and the boat has to help you to use the current and stay in the flow, to stay on the top of the wide water. And I was always aiming this kind of thing to have when I was building a new model, and people liked it. And actually, I was designing a boat for me. It's why I have to say how much they have sold it. But as I was looking around on the circuit, there were many paddlers paddling these my boats. Let's say, yeah.
That must make you proud. That's fascinating.
Yeah, and then was the second school, let's say, which was more straight, more focused on the speed. But I was the Martican style, let's say, or the Galasport style. The boat was fast, but there was no room for error. If you have made an error, the boat didn't react as the boat didn't help you. And I was trying to build the model and the boat that there is a margin for have some errors and the boat will not punish you for the error. That was my goal.
Fascinating. So, I mean, obviously, boat design is one element, but of the standard generally, I mean, the courses have obviously got shorter. We know that. The boats also got shorter at some point. But yeah, do you feel that standard of performance in terms of strength, mental capability has increased over the years?
Yes, but it's in every sport. 30 years ago, slalom was about meeting people, having fun, more likely, let's say. Now it's about performance. Everybody is trying to find a little things, little gap, which will make him better than the others. And the sport started to be really like a professional performance sport. So we can see it in every sport, and canoe slalom, it's not the exception.
Okay, well, that leads in really maybe to a bit about your new venture, B1, and maybe you can define and explain IMSC and how that makes an impact. You said, I wish I'd known about this earlier.
Well, let's say a funny story, but all the gold medalists of France, all French paddlers and Olympic gold medalists, they have worked with some guys with a method. When I was seeing Tony Estanguet working with some guys, and then he stopped, he retired. Okay, and I came to him and what were you doing with this? It's Ralph Hippolyte and Owen Guyen, which are the masters of this IMSC action time method. And he contacted me with his coach, who contacted me with them. And I was so curious about what is behind all of this, because there has to be something that helped them to be the best of the best. So I went to France and I've done this all the formation. First of all, I wanted to help me to progress, but when I saw what we can be capable of doing with this method, I wanted to bring it to the Eastern Europe, because it doesn't exist here. Nobody knows about the motoring, the movement, and the mental preferences, and nobody works with it. And yes, it helped me also, but I think it was already too late for me. Let's say, okay, it helped me. I was in 39 years old, second of the world championships with 2 touches. Let's say, I don't know with the statistics, maybe you can find the statistics if there was somebody else in that age to be on the world championships on the podium. I don't know. But it helped me. And after stopping, I said, okay, I won't do the same, because Raoul Hippolyte, the master of this method, he was working with the French national team already 2 years before the Olympics in Paris also. So, and he was working also very much with Nicolas Gestin also the last year. And you can see the results of the French guys on the Paris Olympics. So there is, I don't say the method is a magic thing. It's just the one piece of the puzzle that can help you in this performance sport as canoe slalom is becoming. It can help you to use your strength, your preferences to express your potential at the best level. What Nicolas Gestin did on the Olympics. So now I'm helping and working with the athletes. It's not just in the slalom, because it's about the movement, and all sports are about the movement. So I'm working with skiers, slalom paddlers, and other sports, football players, to help them to perform at their best level and use their own potential what they have. So I'm very looking forward to it. So I'm staying with the sport still. It has a really big impact also in the company sector. But, I'm coming from the sport, so I like the sport very much. So I want to help all the athletes to be the best versions of themselves. And I don't know if you have seen, but I have worked, I'm working already also with Václav Chaloupka from Czech Republic, Raffaello Ivaldi and Marta Bertoncelli, because when I publish something on the social media that I'm working with somebody, there are runners coming straight away. Even Adam Borges was writing to me what I'm doing, and it looks interesting. So we will see. But I want to help the athletes to be the best version of themselves.
Okay, well, it'll be fabulous to still have you on the circuit, and yeah, it'll be lovely to see kind of the impact that you make. So, the best of luck in the new B1 venture. That's very exciting.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, obviously things are going well for the French. I mean, the French and the Slovakians now both have 8 Olympic gold medals in canoe slalom. So I had 2 other questions for you. So one, how would you like to see the sport develop into the next Olympic cycles?
It will be very, very important because I know there will be changes in the system of the World Cups. Also, there will be no qualification. There will be the short slalom. I think what's the most important thing is to have the slalom stay in the Olympics. Neither we like it or not, but the slalom cross helped the normal slalom, to stay on the Olympics. Maybe it will go in time in the separate circuits, the slalom cross and the slalom. We don't know. I want to see canoe slalom to be one of the sports that people watch. That is the main thing, I think. And how we will make it and how the ICF will do it, we will see. Maybe if they will change it for the counting semi-final and final round together, it will change the sport completely differently, because I've experienced it in my career. I was still 2009. I was pedaling also in this system that the 2 runs were counting together, and it has made sports icons. There were the Marty Kazokson and Kaliska, because they were so consistent in 2 runs that you have the big names of the slalom, and people came to watch if they will manage to do it again or not, if somebody else will beat them. And now what we see, there are a lot of changes in the podiums because of the 1 run which is counting. I don't know if it's bad or good. It will depend. Okay, what the people want to see. They want to see the icons of the sport, or they want to see the changes, the new names coming up and coming out. Because with 1 run, the consistency is it's very hard.
No, that's very interesting. You picked up one other thing, which I was going to ask you about. It's going to be my other question, was about this short slalom. So I think we saw it maybe for the first time as part of the Super Cup towards the end of the season. I mean, obviously we now know and think that that's going to become part of a regular program.
I think the short slalom will really, really depend on the course construction, course setup. If the setup will be too hard, and there will be just 2 or 3 guys which will be able to pass it nicely, I think it's not a good way to do it. But it has to be hard enough that the normal spectators see the difference. Then it will work. And,
so you're in touch with many paddlers and many teams. So are people now starting to train specifically for short slalom, or not yet, maybe?
I don't think yet. Because it's the combination of hard technique moves, which you do in the technique training, and let's say the half runs. Yeah, when you are training, you do the thirds, halves, and the full runs. So it's like a half run, but a technically hard half run.
Well, that was always fun. I mean, that was fun when I was paddling.
Yeah,
If you set courses that were almost impossible to do, but yeah, it was a short run, and see if you could even get the gates.
So if the course set will be that the people will see what is the capability of the athletes, the technical capability of the athletes to do the course. And they will see, okay, this one didn't pass it because. So the people will start to more understand the difficulty of our sport. And now we are living in the times that everything has to be short. Yeah, even the videos and the social media, it's more like 5 seconds. It's too long. So I think the short slalom can be a good attraction to the normal slalom also. So the people will start to understand more the difficulty of the sport. It's not that long, so they will stay to watch because it's like 60 seconds or 50, I don't know. It's fast, people are going again, and you can see the mistakes on the course. Because now with the normal slalom, it's very hard to see the difference. If you watch skiing, alpine skiing, you don't see the difference between the athletes, between the best ones. Neither they go out of the course, or you just watch the split time.
Yeah, my wife's always said
I'm a
that. She
skier,
comes
yeah,
to a slalom race with me, and all the paddlers look so good, she almost can't tell them apart. So yeah, it's going to help us kind of
so
see
you
the
don't see
differences.
you don't see the difference in the normal slalom, and I think the short slalom will help for the people which are watching to understand the difference and see the difference of good move and the move that didn't went well.
Okay, and as course designer, of course, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm delighted that I have you. It's lovely to chat to you. Yeah, catch up kind of, at the end of your paddling career, is obviously you go off now into new and different ventures.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I hope I will stay with the sport and see you on the bank.
That was Alexander Slafkovsky. He talked to us from home in Liptovsky Mikuláš, Slovakia. So I delved back into the results this year to see who ended up where. Here is my quick recap. While the world ranking system may not be perfect, it does give us a sense of race consistency at the top and who is making their way up. Jess Fox remains world number 1 in canoe and kayak. In canoe, Gabriela Satkova from Czechia is now up to second, ahead of Elena Lilik from Germany. In kayak, Ricarda Funk from Germany remains world number 2, and Klaudia Zwalinska from Poland makes her way up for the first time into the top 3. In men's canoe, Benny Savsek from Slovenia is back to world number 1, ahead of Nicolas Gestin from France and Luka Bozic from Slovenia. In men's kayak, Giovanni De Janeiro from Italy is world number 1 for the first time in his career, ahead of Jiří Priskovic from Czechia and Joe Clark from Great Britain. In kayak cross, Kimberly Woods and Joe Clark are world number 1, ahead of Angèle Hug from France, Naomi Fox from Australia, and Finn Butcher from New Zealand and Boris Neveu from France, respectively. In the World Cup Series, Ricarda Funk takes the series for the third time. Anatole Delassus from France takes his first. Jess Fox takes her 7th title in C1, and Matti Benes from Slovakia his 4th since the first back in 2010. Only Jess Fox in C1, Gabriela Satkova and Mallory Franklin from Great Britain in kayak cross won more than one World Cup race during the 2024 season. Not forgetting the Olympics in Paris, of course, where Jess Fox took her 2nd successive C1 title, plus her first kayak Olympic title. Giovanni De Janeiro made it a 3rd men's kayak Olympic title for Italy, while Nicolas Gestin from France made it a 5th Olympic C1 title for France. Naomi Fox from Australia took the debut Olympic women's kayak cross title, and Finn Butcher from New Zealand in the men's. Congratulations to all our medalists this season at a senior, under-23 and junior level. Thanks to my guest today, Alexander Slafkovsky. Thanks to all my 57 different guests who have featured on podcast episodes through the 2024 season. Our next episode, just for fun, catches some of the outtakes from other recordings. We can look forward to another exciting season ahead in 2025. World Championships are back in Australia at Penrith in October, after a gap of 20 years. We have World Cup races starting in June in Laseo, Po, Prague, before Tarzan and a World Cup final in Augsburg at the beginning of September. Certain we will have strong international field for the Australia Open in February. I'm John Gregory. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, tell other people. Send them a link, like, follow, or write a review. If you need more, keep reading Ettore Evaldi's brilliantly insightful and eloquent blog. Stay safe.
That's it for now, but please subscribe to the podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, and leave a review too. Until the next episode, keep it fast and clean.